That's right. She took the oil dipstick all the way up out of the tube, and then without a funnel, she poured the entire... Working as a manager at a massive parts retailer when I was in college taught me exactly why some people should just never touch anything but the steering wheel and the acceleration pedal on their vehicle. I had a customer come in one time and buy a bottle of brake fluid, which, okay, that's fine. That means you got a leak or something's going on, whatever. Here, have a bottle of brake fluid. Then one of the associates I was working with came inside and said, "Hey, Chris, can you come out here and help the customer? They poured the brake fluid in their car, but they think they poured it in the wrong spot, and I just don't know." I'm like, "Sure, yeah, I can come out." I do this, frankly, all the time when I work at a parts retailer. Went outside and I said, "All right, show me where you poured it." And she pointed to not anything but the oil dipstick tube. That's right. She took the oil dipstick all the way up out of the tube, and then without a funnel, she poured the entire bottle of brake fluid into that little tiny orifice. And I said, "You poured it all in there?" She says, "Yes." "I didn't. You said you didn't spill a drop." She goes, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "That's impressive." I said, "You need an oil change. You shouldn't drive this car." She goes, "What are you talking about? I just bought this car." I'm like, "That's okay, but you shouldn't drive this car. You should really get an oil change." She goes, No. The guy I bought it from said he changed the oil before selling it. It doesn't need an oil change." I'm like, "No, it needs an oil change now because you just added brake fluid to the oil." She goes, "No, he told me he changed the oil, so you're telling me he's lying." I said, I think you're on a different wavelength than me." I said, "No, you need to change the oil because you added brake fluid to the oil, and that's not good for your engine. That's why you need to change the oil." She goes, "Well, I'm taking this car back to the guy that sold it to me and telling him that you told me that he didn't change the oil." She got in her car and drove away. That's the story. That's what happened. I don't have like a happy closure ending there. I don't know if the engine ever made it or what she did, but she poured a bottle of brake fluid into her engine and drove away thinking that somebody ripped her off. That some people should just never pop the hood.